This is not a dream.
In the beginning, everything was perfect. And then something happened, and life took on a new dimension. Hello, and welcome. I'm Jim Self. Let me first say thank you for sharing these next few minutes with me. I'd like to give you an idea of the tools and the experiences you'll have available to you in a program entitled Mastering Alchemy. Throughout time, there have been intersecting moments when the cycles of the great cosmic clocks line up in such a way that we're not only given a glimpse of all that is possible, but we actually have the opportunity to step beyond all that we've known as truth and participate in a grander truth within a higher level of consciousness. In the ancient writings and texts, these moments and times have been referred to as the golden ages of light. We are again entering one such moment. This third dimensional reality in which we live operates within specific structures and belief systems which limit our choices and flexibility. For example, the duality structures of right or wrong, good or bad, and should or shouldn't, coupled with the limiting beliefs such as never and always, create the boxes that we live our lives within. For most, not only do we live in the boxes, but we argue for these boxes. We defend the box. We even go to war over the box. Because of our limitations, we believe the box is all there is. To further support our boxes, we construct absolutes such as death and taxes, neither of which are absolutes. But there is one absolute that is so absolute we don't even question it or consider the possibility that something else could exist. And that's our concept of time itself. The possibility that time could exist in any form other than past, present, or future is not a thought which most of us have ever considered. But our third dimensional reality is changing. We're beginning to consider new possibilities. Concepts once held by small groups of people outside of society's accepted beliefs, or by scientists, mathematicians, and philosophers operating outside of the box, are beginning to receive new consideration. Not too long ago, the idea that other dimensions could exist was unimaginable to most, or the idea that we could change the cells of the body and grow new organs, or rearrange the electron within the atom to alter matter, were inconceivable. Today, these ideas are the sciences of string theory, genetics, and nanotechnology. Words such as metaphysics or alchemy have been laughed at or viewed as fantasy or science fiction. But today, neither of these concepts are fantasy nor science fiction. Metaphysics has become known as quantum physics, and the alchemy of changing lead to gold, well, it's now done successfully through quantum mechanics. Unfortunately, science has not yet come to the understanding that alchemy, although it can be done technologically by applying tremendous force and energy, is more simply accomplished by changing the frequency of thought, altering the harmonics of matter, and applying the elements of love to create the desired results. Alchemy is the recognition of all that is possible and then transforming one possibility into another. Because we have so strongly believed in the limitations of the third dimension and considered time an absolute, our ability to experience greater possibilities have been significantly restricted. However, the moment we allow ourselves to consider that time operates in alternative forms will be the moment we discover the doorway that steps beyond the limitations of the third dimensional reality. Now, one alternative form of time is simultaneous time. Within simultaneous time, all events or possibilities occur in the same moment at the same place. Simultaneous time is not a difficult experience to have, but it is an impossible experience to have in the third dimensional box. In order to experience simultaneous time, one must become aware of the limitations and the structures of the third dimension, and then step beyond those restrictions in order to discover new choices. So if time is the doorway, where do we find the key to the door? The key is actually found within the framework of alchemy itself, the ability to recognize all that's possible and then change or transform one into something else. In other words, the ability to change the frequency or the vibration of your existence on a spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical level. Let me give you an example. At some point in your life, you've experienced being very angry. And at that moment of anger, your ability to feel happy was significantly restricted. Anger vibrates at a lower, slower frequency, whereas happy vibrates at a higher, faster frequency. By holding on to the vibration of anger, you eliminate your ability to be happy. You simply operate at a lower, slower frequency that limits access to the higher, faster feelings. This is exactly what happens in the lower third dimensional reality. Accessing the higher dimensional frequencies simply cannot occur at a lower, slower vibration. You have to raise your vibrational field in order to access the higher consciousness and simultaneous time. So let me explain how this is accomplished in mastering alchemy. We begin by identifying the edge of the energy field that surrounds you, and then consciously raise the vibration of the field. By defining where you start and stop energetically, and learning how to manage this field, you'll begin to experience the distinction between you and the agreement to maintain life's status quo. This is something many of you have already learned how to do, but managing this field is critical to everything else that follows. In order to accommodate the enormous amount of new information that will be made available, the capacity of the body to accept and store information must be increased. This is very similar to upgrading your computer's operating system to accommodate a faster, higher quality of programming. In order to do this, we'll anchor, integrate, and turn on the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional chakra systems. We then expand the capacity of the synaptic brain functions and upgrade the electromagnetic wiring of the endocrine, glandular, and nervous systems of the body. This will start to expand the ability to hold greater amounts of information and increase the light quotient within the four bodies. The next step is building the personal power field. For those of you who have experienced a program known as the one-to-one, you'll recall a segment of work which introduces the personal power field. This is the flow of energy allowing you to create a self-contained energy field of light, aligning the four bodies to the higher mind of the soul. Let me give you an idea through this animation of how this personal power field is created. To start with, let's define where the edge of the energy field known as the aura is located. By placing your arm straight out in front of you, approximately 18 inches, and turning the palm of your hand towards yourself, you will define fairly accurately the edge of the aura. In order to define this boundary or edge, create a mental image picture in your mind of a rose. And with your thought, place the rose at the location of your hand to create a sense of definition or boundary point, the point between you and everything outside of you. Although this sets a fixed point of definition, once located, the rose actually defines the field completely around you. The same way an electron moves around the atom, defining the entire boundary of the field. The front, back, left, right, above and below. In our three-dimensional reality, in order to locate a single point in space, you must identify 6 additional points of reference. And by connecting these reference points with 3 intersecting lines, you will locate the point you are looking to identify. However, in this case, you know where your body is located, but you will want to identify the 6 points establishing the edge of the energy field to more precisely get a sense of your boundaries. Using the heart as the center point and the rose as the edge of the energy field about 18 inches out in front of you, draw a line with your mind from the heart to the rose in front of you, and a second line from the heart to the rose that defines the point behind you 18 inches. Next, draw a line from the heart to the point on the left side of you, and another to the point on the right side of you. We'll also need 2 more lines, one from the heart to the point 18 inches above you, and a second 18 inches below the feet. This begins the definition and the location of the aura in more tangible terms. These 3 axis lines will become gyroscopic stabilizers and balance the energy field as the field begins to spin, approaching the speed of light. In addition to these 6 points, there are 2 additional points referred to as the alpha and the omega points, located approximately 8 inches above the crown chakra and 8 inches below the first chakra. Connecting these 2 points is a breathing tube. With a conscious change in your breathing habit and a new awareness of the prana or life force contained within the breath, you'll begin to revitalize the body, oxygenate and turn on the brain, increase the body's electrical capacity to hold and retain light, neutralize charged belief systems while activating the DNA codes within the 4 bodies. The breathing pattern will change as you begin to shift your unconscious focus from the air flowing into the lungs to consciously breathing the prana into the heart. This is done by breathing in from the top and the bottom of the breathing tube simultaneously, and then exhaling out through the heart, allowing each breath to begin to fill the entire energy field with light. This will trigger a new breathing pattern, which flows in a circular manner with no interruptions between the inhale and the exhale. The breath is extremely important. It is the breath that will anchor and activate the connection with the soul, the higher self, and the conscious connection to God. It is the breath that controls the mind. It is not the mind that controls the breath. Next, through a series of steps, the energy flow within you will be increased to form a column of brilliant white light surrounding both the chakras and the breathing tube, extending through the alpha-omega points to the top and the bottom of the energy field. With the activation of this column of light, you'll begin to access and turn on an energy known as personal power. This energy moves up through the column of light, flowing outwards 360 degrees around the outer edge of the aura's energy field, and then flows back into the bottom of the column of light, accelerating again upward, creating a smooth, continuous circular flow of energy within and around you. This formation in mathematical terms is referred to as a tube torus, and has the appearance of a sphere with an open column through the center. Again, the energy flows from the column out the top and around the outside edge of the energy field and back through the bottom of the column, accelerating up again through the center of the column. Now, this is where the opportunity to experience higher consciousness becomes very interesting. At the speed at which the energy field is beginning to flow, we can start to access the higher sound frequencies and the sacred geometric formations of the third and fourth dimension. Let's begin with the 6 points we constructed defining the edge of the surrounding energy field. One of the 5 Platonic solids in sacred geometry is the octahedron, an 8-sided diamond-shaped figure. By simply connecting the 6 points with lines, you will create an imperfect 8-sided octahedron. This will be adjusted in a moment in order to meet the definitions of a Platonic geometry. Whenever motion is created in a field of energy, an interesting phenomena occurs. The flow of energy, or the motion, begins to spin in a very specific direction. As science begins to understand more about quantum physics, many of the unanswered questions become clear. One such question has always been, when water flows down a drain, why does it spin? As science and spirituality rapidly merge, this question is being answered. There is an energy flow within the universe, which those of us who are seeking higher understanding call consciousness or infinite intelligence. Science calls this ethers. This infinite intelligence is always in motion. In the energy field surrounding you, there is an energy characteristic we refer to as feminine, a consciousness we will call the mother energy or the energy of the earth. As this consciousness moves upward through the column of light, it spins in a clockwise motion through the column and fountains outward into the energy field, creating a clockwise spin through the field before it re-enters the bottom of the column once more. This spinning vortex creates a tremendous acceleration within the column, just as tornadoes do within nature. Simultaneously, a second flow of cosmic conscious intelligence moves downward into the column of light. This intelligence is of the Father, the Christed consciousness. This intelligence spins counterclockwise, flowing down through the column into the energy field, filling it with the masculine, radiant, golden white light. As this energy fills the field, a second field of light is created. You are now surrounded by 2 counter-rotating fields of light. As this occurs, your personal power, or the aspect of you, the spiritual personality, begins to blend or merge with the male and female aspects of the infinite intelligence, becoming one. As these fields of energy spin, the oblong shape of the aura begins to expand outward, forming 2 perfectly symmetrical spheres of light, 360 degrees around you in all directions. As this occurs, the octahedron will also expand with the sphere, forming a completely balanced Platonic form, meeting all the characteristics of the Platonic solid. In the third dimension, there are only 5 shapes that meet the characteristics of the Platonic solid. The characteristics of this geometry, by definition, are all lengths, all the angles, and the faces must all be equal to one another, and all the points of the shape must touch the sphere. With these energy fields created, you'll begin through a series of staged intervals to increase the rotation of the fields to 90% of the speed of light and step into simultaneous time. A 4th, 5th dimensional time structure where past, present, and future become simultaneous. And in other words, all the experiences occur in the present moment, right now. Once this field is anchored and operating from your conscious awareness, the work, or should I say the fun, of mastering yourself can begin. We'll start by creating a conscious, intentional connection with the soul, anchoring the soul into the heart, and beginning to merge with the soul and know what the soul knows. Through this connection, access to the higher mind of consciousness held within the soul begins to be made available. It is through the higher mind that you begin to access the infinite intelligence of the universe, in a fully conscious manner that does not require thinking, analyzing, or logic. Instead, it's a structure of awareness, understanding, and instantaneous knowing without thinking. It is through the higher mind that the intentional path to Source, the creator of all that is expanded. In the ancient Sanskrit language, this connection is referred to as the Antakarana. A significant portion of this program will focus on transforming many of the unconscious past life emotional memory patterns you experience in this current personality. Many of these old patterns, such as aggression, victim, inadequacy, play out in your current personality, interfering with your creations, but have nothing to do with you in present time. These are similar to the old, less effective software programs running in your computer that have never been removed, but slow down the operations and often cause the computer to crash. By increasing your vibration and working within simultaneous time, your ability to change these patterns and events is the same as rearranging a meeting or changing a daily schedule based on receiving new information. You simply make an adjustment. Remember, in simultaneous time, all events or possibilities occur in the same place at the same moment. Transforming these charged patterns is done from a conscious point of awareness in the lifetime itself, at the moment the event occurred and the pattern was created. This gives you an opportunity to free yourself from these old unconscious thought systems that have accumulated within the DNA coding and moved from lifetime to lifetime. These are the thought systems which lock you into the limitation of today's third dimension. As you continue to master the circular breathing, you'll go deeper into the higher mind. You'll begin to experience a new quietness, a focus, a detachment. You'll experience a new sense of inquisitiveness without asking a question. You begin to think from the heart and act through the higher mind. Here a very interesting opportunity occurs in the higher mind. Because everything is available to you in simultaneous time, there is no searching required for the answers to your question. You'll find the answer to your question is exactly located where the question is asked. You don't have to go anywhere to find the answer. For example, a question such as, "What happens if I?" or "How do I create A?" The answer is found where the question is asked. At the same moment the question is asked, you receive the answer to the question before the action is required to be taken. Now think about this. There is no failure. There is no error. You have the answer before you act. Without failure or error in the equation, blame, guilt, or other third-dimensional vibrations don't occur. You know the outcome of the action before the action is taken. You can't fail. It simply becomes the choice between possibilities that support your desired intention. If the answer doesn't provide you with exactly the desired result, simply change or modify the question. A new or modified answer will appear. For example, if I'm standing on the cliff and I wish to go to the valley below, and I ask, "How do I get there?" the answer I might get is simply jump. But that's not the answer I'm looking for, so if I change the question, what is a safe and enjoyable way to get from where I am to the valley below, the answer will be turn to the right and follow the path. Ask and you shall receive. Change the question and you'll find the answer that best supports your desire. About halfway through the program, we'll begin to use the harmonics of the fourth and fifth dimension. the Platonic solids of sacred geometry, and the elements of love to construct at a molecular level the light body, or the atom cadmon, from the blueprint held within the soul. This is done by learning how to transform the electron at the level of the atom, changing one possibility into another. As this light body is created, you begin to shift more of your consciousness into this form. What I'm going to say next may be hard to comprehend, so don't make this too serious. A minute ago, I referred to our existence in the third dimension as a box. Well, actually, it's not a box. It's an octahedron. I'll spare you the quantum physics, the science, and the math that verifies the statement, but the harmonics, or the boundaries that contain the third dimensional box, are structured in the form of an octahedron. The third dimension is built on 3 axis lines, creating length, width, and height. These are the same gyroscopic axis lines created in the animation that you viewed just a moment ago. In order for us to successfully step out of the third dimension consciousness, we align or match our personal energy field with the energy alignment of the third dimensional field of the octahedron. Then increase the speed of our energy field to change our energetic form and structure from the vibrations of the octahedron into the harmonics of the fourth dimension and the next highest form within sacred geometry, which is known as the star tetrahedron. We change the vibration of the energy field from the third dimensional vibration to this fourth dimensional structure. Again, if your brain is beginning to heat up, find a little amusement, take a deep breath. There is a reason all this might be difficult to take in. Because of the game that we came here to play, the limitations of the third dimensional mind do not have the capacity to fully access the intelligence of the higher dimensions. The part of the brain that is hearing this explanation has minimal reference points to make sense of some of the information just given. The synaptic connections of the brain and the electromagnetic wiring to fully integrate the information is not in place. This is also the reason many of us have difficulty in this third dimensional life. Because we came into this body still having awareness of where we came from, it has been difficult to understand the world that we live in and why others do these incoherent, painful things that they do. This is also why so many have experienced a profound sadness throughout much of this lifetime. You are still partially wired for the frequencies of love, kindness, and gratitude found in the higher dimensions that are not available within the third dimensional reality. Because this contrast is so striking, it has created an intense desire in many to go home. But it's because you know about home that you have the staying power, the capacity, the passion to fulfill your purpose before you leave, at the very moment required. By this point in the program, your frame of reference will have begun to shift, and your ability to move around within simultaneous time will have become more fluid. With this new flexibility, we can begin to accomplish one of the primary reasons why this program was created. It was created to allow each of us to begin to experience our path from a new perspective. The path is simply the vehicle to completing your purpose or your lessons. Now let me ask you a question. What is your purpose? What are your lessons? For the most part, when I ask that question, the answer I get back is I don't know, or I don't remember, or I think I left my list behind when I came into the body. But what if you could know? What if you could know exactly what you agreed to accomplish in order to fulfill your purpose or your lesson? Or put it another way, what if you could remember your agreement with the soul to fulfill the soul's purpose? the soul's desire. One of the reasons many of us experience a deep or constant feeling of anxiety or tension is because we believe we're coming closer to a point where we are supposed to act on something, but can't remember what it is. Your relationship with the soul is similar to having an experience with someone older, wiser, who's raised you, whom you absolutely love and adore, and one day they ask you to do something very important for them. And you're thrilled and honored to have the opportunity to do this. So you set out about your day, and on the way to work it's raining and you forgot your umbrella. But you get to work and you begin to go through your meetings, and then you go to lunch, and then you proceed through the rest of the day and you spend time with your friends. And then you go to pick up your dry cleaning for the party tonight, and it dawns on you that you forgot to do what you were asked. And not only did you forget, you don't remember what it was that you were asked to do. A very uncomfortable feeling that many of us walk around with in this lifetime. But what if there was a way of remembering the list? Remembering the lessons that you agreed to accomplish? Now think about it. If you could know your purpose, if you knew what you came here to do, would this change your life? Would you act differently? Because you've increased the speed of your vibrational field, changed the energetic alignment to the fourth dimensional frequency, and merged with the soul, you now have created access to the soul's memory banks and the capacity to know your purpose and your agreement with the soul. By having access to your list of spiritual tasks and consciously setting out to complete them, another very interesting experience occurs. The noise, drama, and discomfort you've experienced interacting with various people while moving around in this life shifts. The people who have been the most difficult to deal with now become the actors in your play, and the noise becomes the costumes, the props, the staging, all designed to assist you in identifying and fulfilling your lessons. Stress and uncertainty go away. By asking this simple question in simultaneous time, how does this moment support and assist my lesson? The answer is given. By knowing your original agreements, you actually begin to make the game a game. Instead of moving around like a pawn on the chessboard in uncertainty and not knowing the next outcome, you move to a new point of observation outside of the game, allowing you to see how the entire event has evolved to this point and how all the possibilities of the next move will affect all the future possibilities. You become consciously aware of the possibilities and the outcomes before any action is required. Are you beginning to see the possibilities? Well, let's go one step further. By choosing to experience yourself in simultaneous time, you create the opportunity to become the editor of the great book with your name on it. What if, without any emotion or attachment, you could review each lifetime and rewrite the script or that chapter based on understanding the purpose of the lesson to be accomplished in that lifetime? From this level of heightened awareness and understanding, all the possibilities in each moment are available, allowing you to rewrite the script using the best possibility that fulfills the soul's purpose. Now, think about it again. Being able to go back into the story without re-experiencing it and rewrite the experience at the point where the opportunity to complete the lesson was missed. This is what computer programmers do when they correct the software program to create a different result. Now, additionally, by rewriting the outcome, you also stop the thread of the incomplete lessons from becoming more complicated as they move from lifetime to lifetime. Many of today's dramas and emotions are yesterday's lessons still unresolved. All possibilities exist within simultaneous time. As we move into the final months of the program, you'll begin to notice, if you're doing the work, that you're experiencing yourself with a new sense of certainty, presence, and command that feels somewhat familiar, but has not been a habit in this lifetime. You'll also start to find a single point of observation in which to view all things. As you begin to experience yourself from this point of observation, you'll feel a new alignment, a new clarity, allowing you to perceive more fully. Again, in simultaneous time, all possibilities exist in the same place at the same moment. This point of observation is where you will begin to understand the statement, I am one. The higher consciousness that you seek will begin to be experienced. Words such as appreciation, ease, dignity, gratitude, and kindness will become living words, generating an internal smile and an expansive sense of a connection with all that is. And the third dimensional reality, well, it begins to dissolve and fade away. Words such as fear, judgment, competition become minimized in your experience. As these vibrations are released, your ability to stay in the higher mind, in the personal power field, and perceive everything around you from a single point of observation will become greatly enhanced. And finally, as you begin to hold this brighter light within and observe all of the possibilities from a single point of observation, new information explaining the purpose of creation, the fall of consciousness, and the use of the 12 rays of light will be introduced. It will be through these tools and the magnificent rays of light that you will fulfill your purpose and create heaven on earth. This is a very focused program of higher consciousness. It has been directed and intentionally designed with a specific purpose. It is designed to assist those of you who know you have a purpose to fulfill. Those of you who have always known there would be a time that would come that you would be called upon to act. It is for those of you who are the leaders, the healers, the teachers, and recognize you have a role to play in bringing heaven to earth. It is the intention of this program to create an opportunity for you to see more clearly the role you have come here to accomplish, and accomplish it. As you begin this program, you're going to be amazed, though, at how strong your 5 senses anchor you to your current reality, to your noise, to your relationship with your habits, and how powerful time itself is in anchoring you to your belief systems. This program requires work. It is not easy. It is not for people who are dabbling in spirituality, nor is it a drop-in class. It requires a deliberate, passionate intention to know yourself and to experience yourself outside of the box. Those who have already chosen to walk this path express a sense of being in the world, but not of the world. Their ability to observe without judging is heightened, and their ability to choose when to engage and when not to engage is much more conscious. Most are reaching their goals and becoming conscious of their soul's purpose. This program is designed to experience yourself in the higher dimensions rather than thinking about them from the 3rd dimension. It is the entry point into all that you are. Now, much more could be said, but I hope this gives you an idea of what's possible. The intention and the goal of this program is mastering alchemy, choosing the most joyful possibility and allowing it. Alchemy is done by changing the frequency of thought, altering the harmonics of matter, and using the elements of love to create the desired results. Alchemy is the recognition of all that is possible and then transforming one possibility into another. I very much appreciate you allowing me to share this information with you. May you find many blessings on your path back to the heart of God.
Jim Self is often introduced as a teacher's teacher and a healer's healer. He's been leading seminars and teaching healing, clairvoyance, and personal energy management courses throughout North America since 1980, and is a founder of Northern California's Avalon Institute. Since childhood, Jim has retained a conscious awareness and ability to recall his experiences within the sleep state. Over the last 10 years, this awareness has expanded into relationships with the archangels, ascended masters, and teachers of light. The foundational information presented in the Mastering Alchemy and Earth Healing programs are co-creations of these relationships. Jim walks with a foot in both worlds. At the age of 26, he was elected to his first of 2 terms to the San Jose, California City Council, and he later became vice mayor. Before completing his second term, he was asked by President Jimmy Carter to be an advisor and the Director of Governmental Operations for the Department of Energy. As an entrepreneur, Jim has successfully built and sold 2 corporations and is the founder and current board chairman of a 3rd biomedical company. Jim is a recognized leader in the field of personal spiritual growth and self-development. He is a mentor and personal coach to many, a gifted healer, spiritual counselor, and sought-after lecturer. Jim's purpose is to gently assist those who are awakening, dust them off, and help them remember who they are so they can successfully accomplish the purpose they came here to fulfill. His passion? Creating heaven on earth.